Guys, welcome back to the Before the First Cast. I'm your host, Calvin Hernan. Guys, I really appreciate you guys tuning in this week. Sorry about the last 2 weeks. I had technical difficulties on the last week, and I was unable to stream this podcast. And last week, I was actually on vacation with my family for my wife's birthday. But I hope to get everything back on track this week. And keep bringing out content for you guys. So I want to get started. I wanted to have a video just solely to this, but I guess I can split this video into two parts. First part is I wanted to talk about what I thought about the Bassmaster Classic, this 2025 Bassmaster Classic. I believe, just to get started, congratulations to Easton Fothergill for dominating at Lake Ray Roberts in Texas. There's some things I really enjoyed about that in this classic, and there were some things that I wish Bass would change or make a little bit of a different per different way of doing things. The first thing I really liked was all the commentary that was on the Bassmaster Classic this year. I thought it was really, really good. Um, but also that at some times I thought there was just too much, and we didn't get a lot to see a lot of fishing going on, which I was kind of disappointed. It's the Super Bowl of bass fishing. Everybody wants to see these guys out there fishing, catching, and trying to figure out what they're doing. I wish it was a little, I wish that was more showing more of the fish catches. But sure, we can all learn from the commentators and learn from, guys on Bass Live that are coming on and explaining what's going on the lake. I definitely agreed with that. The second thing that I just cannot stand or I wish would change, that would be the amount of product placement and advertising during the classic. I just thought it was really too much this year. It really took away from my interest because every 15 minutes or so there would be a commercial break. Now I understand there is a lot of products here in the bass fishing world that you know they want to get out and promote so all the fishermen have access to and get to use. I understand that, but it gets really monotonous when it's every, I'm going to say, 5-10 minutes you have to take a break for commercials. Um, that's it's a little outrageous for me. But because as a bass fisherman, as guys that I look up to and I kind of want to be like one day, I really want to know what to see what they're doing, to know how they're catching them, so I can take this and learn from it. Lastly, and I'll get off my soapbox of the Bassmaster Classic, is the the weigh-in times and the amount of people, which I really like that because bass fishing is one of those sports that's really not recognized that whole often. It's not like your big NFL games or your NBA. And I've read a lot of stuff. I've heard a lot of stuff from other people. It's just there was just a lot of the times were just all messed up. There was a lot of added time to the weigh-in, which you got to understand, guys. In a big event like this, you're going to have filler time. You're going to have things not going on in a competition like this. It's not just going to be, you know, it's not there's not going to be just, oh, we're going to do weigh-ins, get this over. And people were complaining about the amount of people that were at the classic, which I find hard to believe because you would want the sport to be recognized and you would want those people to, you know, be there. So I'm not really understanding why people said that there was too many people at the Bassmaster Classic. Honestly, I would like a lot more people to be there if it was me. But I would love to have been there. Me sitting at home, I don't get that effect of all the fans. I don't see all that happening. So there were some things I would like to see Bass change, and I think there were some things that Bass did great during this classic. Um, Now let me get off my soapbox and let's get into the second part of this, which is Have you ever been on the lake during May? And happy May to everyone. And you just don't really know what's going on. Like, you don't know where the fish are doing, where they're at. May is a very weird month for bass fishing. One, you can catch them everywhere. You can catch them shallow. You can catch them deep. You can probably catch some spawning fish still. Um, but May also, you get a really good reaction bite during May. That's kind of what I want to talk to you today about, is kind of figuring out where these fish are going to be, figuring out what phases these bass are in during this May period. So what is happening in May? So May, you depending on in the where in the country you are, May could be like up north. May could be your prime spawning time. Here in Mid Atlantic, where I am in Virginia, where the spawn is ending and we're going more towards the post spawn. And if you're somewhere in Florida, Texas, your spawn's been over. You're in that post spawn period. So what happens at the post spawn period? So bass get really aggressive in the post spawn. They want to feed up, so when they go for their summer holds, that they're going to be nice and fed, and they're going to be ready to ready to lounge around and hang out in their deep summer holes. So what does that mean? And also another thing that happens is you get all of these different spawns happening. You'll have the shad spawn. You're going to have a bluegill spawn. You're going to have a mayfly spawn. What does that mean for bass? The forage is endless for bass right now. They can just eat as much as they want um, and just gorge. What does that mean for us bass anglers? Well, I can tell you, bass fishing is going to get really good here soon. Like I said before, you're going to be able to catch them pretty much everywhere. Um, and I have baits that I really like to throw during this time of year, and I will give you the reasons of why I like to throw these as I go over them. So, first, I want to start. I am a very big fan of reaction baits. I love feeling a bass hit a reaction bait, and they're so aggressive this time of year that it just nearly rocks your rod out of your hands. So I'm going to start with my tried and true, the good old spinner bait. Now this time of year, I burn these things. I burn them down the bank. Um, the reason I do that is to get that reaction bite. Um, I have had many times where a bass smokes this thing, and it may be a pound, but it feels like a 3 pounder. Some things I would do to this, though, I'm a big fan of putting a trailer on the back of these spinner baits, whether that be an X-Zone swammer, maybe that be a just a boot tail swim bait of some sort. Um, I just I just think it gets the thumping action of the trailer gets the attention from the bass, not only the flashing of the blades itself. Another reaction bait that if you don't like the spinner bait, you have to like this guy, the old chatterbait. Why do I say that? Chatterbaits are similar to chatterbaits are similar to the spinnerbait. Besides the two blades, you're going to get that vibration, and some now you can get that rocking back and forth motion at for like a bait fish. So where am I going to fish a chatterbait rather than a spinnerbait? I really like fishing a chatterbait around cover, whether that be wood, rock, whatever. Spinnerbait you can fish it there too, but I really like open fan casting with a spinnerbait to try to locate bass. Um, the chatterbait just does well around grass, does well around wood. I'm going to pair that up with probably a spunk shad from Missile Baits or Hog Farmer. That's just the confidence bait I have on the back of a chatterbait. I don't know what it is. It's just what I like to do. Um, the next bait that I want to go over is my favorite way to catch them all time. Favorite Shallow running crankbaits. Right here in my hand, I have one of my absolute favorites. That is the Ott's Garage Slim 6. This bait, no matter where I am, what the temperature is, has been my all-time favorite bait of all time. The reason why, I can do so many things with a shallow running crankbait. I can slow roll it. I can burn it. I can do a burn pause retrieve. 9 times out of 10, this thing's getting eaten. Um, this time of year, I have more success on just a speedy, fast retrieve. When you get a bite on a shallow water crankbait, you really won't feel the bite unless it's a really aggressive bite. Really, you'll feel your rod loaded up, and he's going to be there. Um, Another thing is you can throw these things anywhere. Don't be scared to throw them in the rocks. Don't be scared to throw them in the wood. I've caught a lot of bass from throwing it in wood and thinking, oh, I'm going to get hung, and a fish smokes it out of the wood. How does that happen? I don't know. Really don't know. And my last and final, and I have another bait after this, but this rounds out my top baits right now. But I really enjoy, and what bass fishermen don't this time of year, some sort of top water. Here's a buzz bait. I have several of these. I have a walking bait, a spook bait. You want to get a little finessey? Hit them with the popper. This time of year, bass are looking to feed, and they're going to be aggressive. So if they see something over top of their head that's making a lot of noise and a lot of wakes and stuff, they're going to come up and investigate. And who has not been on a lake, and myself included, in an early morning day on spring around this time, and you're throwing around a topwater bait, and you hear that, or you see that boil come up and smack your lure out of the water. Now, if that doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what does. Um, I love fishing topwater. It's kind of frustrating at times, but once you get that bite, it's usually going to be a pretty good one. Um, but topwater is the way to go this time of year. This is just a plain old buzz bait with a toad on the back of it. This is one of my favorite walking baits. I forgot the name of it. And this is the Storm Arashi Cover Pop 8. These things are awesome. Um, but yeah, and you have to have a bait for when those bass don't want to commit to anything moving. And I'll be honest, I don't have one out. I don't have these out with me right now because I just thought about it, to be honest, on the fly. I really like a drop shot and a shaky head. Drop shots are more finessey kind of bait. Um, you really just a drop shot just gets bit. I don't know what else to say. I was not a believer in a drop shot until I went fishing this fall with a good buddy Matt Harmon, and he made me a believer in the drop shot. And no matter where you go, you're gonna catch fish on it. And then the shaky head, I've just grown up throwing a shaky head. I don't know what it is about it. It just gets bit. I usually use a green pumpkin quarter ounce head with a green pumpkin worm. It just flat out gets bit. I don't know the rhyme or reason. I have my speculations that it looks like a bluegill, and that's what bass eat a lot of. And it's a natural instinct of theirs to, if it lands near them, to eat it. It's just, it gets bit. Guys, I really enjoyed this podcast. I really enjoyed coming back with you guys this week. Next week I will have a guest, so look forward to that. I just really am glad to be back with everyone, and I hope you guys have a blessed Friday and happy May. And go out there this weekend and absolutely smoke them on these baits. If you do, please reach out to us and If it works for you, please reach out and just let us know. All right, guys, until the next one, have a great week. Bye.